Condoleezza Rice served as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State under President George W. Bush. She's now a professor at Stanford University, and she's written a new book called Democracy: Stories from the Long Road to Freedom. Secretary Rice, great to see you. Good morning. How are you?
Nice to see you. Great to be here.
There's a story on the front page of the Washington Post I want your reaction to this morning, that apparently some senior advisors to President Trump are proposing a shift in U.S. military strategy in Afghanistan, sending more troops there to fight an emboldened Taliban. If you were Secretary of State right now, would you urge the President to go along with that?
Well, I'd certainly urge the President to look at how we can turn the tide in Afghanistan. I know we've been there a very, very long time. And obviously, the goal is to have a government that's stable in Kabul, that can't be assaulted by the Taliban. But they're going to have to look at all options. And I would certainly, as Secretary of State, look at the options.
If you send 3,000 or so more troops there, do you worry about a collision course with Russia? Because, as you know, it's been reported that the Russians are sending arms to the Taliban. So are U.S. troops on the ground there going to be fight Russian-armed Taliban troops on the ground there?
Well, one of the first conversations needs to be with Vladimir Putin, and to say, do you really want to get back into Afghanistan after what happened to you before in Afghanistan? There is no reason for the Russians to be arming the Taliban. And so that conversation needs to take place, and I'm sure that when Secretary Tillerson meets with the Foreign Minister Lavrov, that will come up. But the President is going to have to look at a wide variety of things, not just troops, but what is the strategy now for increasing troop strength? It doesn't make sense just to increase troop strength to keep doing the same thing.
I'm sure you're familiar with the controversy over the General Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, and the testimony we heard on the Hill yesterday. Let me just ask you, you once held that position, yes, by the way, National Security Advisor. If the Attorney General of the United States had come to you at the White House and said, your National Security Advisor is potentially compromised, that he lied about his contact with the Russians, and the Russians know it, would you fire him right then and there?
That's not my decision to make.
Let's say it were.
I don't do speculation, because I don't know what that conversation sounded like. I don't know what the President heard or didn't hear. I do know that eventually General Flynn was gone. And they have now a terrific National Security Advisor in H.R. McMaster and a really great national security team, and that's what matters.
You said that Russian interference in our election was kind of a high water mark in efforts that they've been taking on for decades. Can President Trump right now trust President Putin?
Well, I don't know that any president could trust President Putin. What you can trust Putin to do is to carry out his interests as he sees them. And that means making Russia a real factor in international politics, and sometimes if that means overrunning Ukraine or threatening the Baltic states, then that's what he will do.
Or supporting President Assad
or supporting President Assad, and or for that matter arming the Taliban, if that's what's happening. So in these circumstances, you're always best to say, what are the Russians trying to do? There are, by the way, areas of potential cooperation. I think North Korea is an area of potential cooperation, because the Russians can't look kindly on a North Korean leader with a long-range missile if it can reach Alaska, it can reach Vladivostok.
How do you not be able to trust a guy because he's interfering in your election, and all of a sudden turn for help from that same person?
Well, it's not help. It's a matter of understanding what Russian interests are, expecting that they're going to follow them. And when it comes to not having North Korea able to reach the territory of Russia, that's in the Russian interest.
You mentioned North Korea. Obviously, tensions are high there. Do you support the idea of a preemptive strike if it comes to that?
I support the President keeping that option on the table, because no American president is going to allow a reckless leader in North Korea to acquire a nuclear weapon capable of reaching the United States. It's simply not going to happen. And so I hope that diplomacy will work. I hope the Chinese will really step up and put the kind of pressure on the North Korean regime that only they can put on the regime. But the President has to keep all of his options on the table, and that I support.
Caught my eye in the beginning of your book. You pose a question. You say, is democracy in retreat? And I kind of wonder, just by asking the question, are you sounding a little pessimistic?
Well, if I had to answer my own question, I would say no. It is not in retreat. It's just a really long, hard process. And all democracies are are imperfect at their start, and they get a little bit better along the way. But it's almost as if climbing a high stair. You get to a landing, you consolidate for a while, you take your breath, and you keep moving on.
Secretary Condoleezza Rice, thank you so much for being with us.
Do you miss Washington? Would you go back?
No, I'm a very happy professor at Stanford.
You sure?
I'm sure, thank you.
Just asking.
Asking for a friend. Thank you very much.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.